Okay. Now, what is the gain on this thing? It's going crazy. Let's just throw this on my face for now. How do I get the chat? Pop out chat. Sweet. Sweet. Okay. Okay, that works. Cool. Let's do... Boom. Oh, we have people. I'm just doing sort of some quick tests of the setup to see if it's working, because you guys got to see how scuffed this is. I've got look, that's my NAS just currently on the table. Will this be edited in a video? Probably. I'm not sure what my approach is going to be yet. I'm still figuring out how to make content. But my goal would be, to put this together in a little video. I'm not sure what people prefer yet, though. If people prefer this sort of like flashy, quick, engaging content where I kind of like tell a story about what it was like to build something, we'll just do this real quick. Or if people are more interested in like, I'm going to do a long form kind of detailed tutorial on what I did. I've kind of been tending towards like, let me tell a story about what it was like and then write out a tutorial on GitHub. And that seems to be better. Also, one sec. I have a new device. Wait, do I have a new device? Yes, I have a new device that might make my streaming connection more stable. So I probably should have tested this before. I got one of these like come on now. Come on. I got one of these USB-C to Ethernet adapters because I've got everything hardwired as much as I can. And I am currently on Wi-Fi on my laptop, which is just like not great. Even though my Wi-Fi is pretty good, obviously 2.5 gigs straight to the dome is better. You think professional systems administrators refer to Ethernet as straight to the dome? I think I might be a little weird on that front. Anyways, we're sort of just doing setup. I figured I would launch early just to talk to anybody who's feeling like joining the stream early. And also, like, I don't know, it's kind of fun to like live stream the setup process. Sometimes people give me advice, which is super useful because I don't know what I'm doing. But I do have. Look at this guy. Little Ugreen 2.5 gig Ethernet guy. So that should be nice. I think I've also got a long Ethernet cable somewhere. Okay. Yeah. How's everybody doing? Have you all been to the stream before? Are you all judging me for my lack of shavenness? I can't even grow a proper beard. 2.5 gig is the new 1 gig. Facts. Yeah. Absolutely. Like, I looked into how much trouble it would be to set up 10, and I was like, I don't make that much money. Like, there's no way I'm switching to 10, right? Because like my gaming PC is on 2.5 already. The NAS is on 2.5. I got a 2.5 switch, right? So 2.5 was a reasonable upgrade, especially because my internet connection, we just bumped it up to 4 gig symmetrical, which is 4 gig symmetrical is incredible. I downloaded Portal 2 in like 3 minutes. Okay. So, yeah. Anyways, as the stream says, today we will be setting up this NAS, but first we've got a little bit of configuring to do to stabilize things. Let's see. We're just going to do like a temp setup for now. 10 gig is still expensive. They also didn't solve the heat issues. They're just throwing bigger heat sinks at the problem. Yeah, throwing bigger heat sinks at the problem. Bro, I was building computers back in like 2008. I was like 10 then, right? My dad was helping, obviously, right? But I'm there building computers, and I remember the heat sinks on CPUs and GPUs back then. Oh my God, GPUs back in the day, little fellas. Their only solution is just make bigger cooling. Okay, let's. Nailed it. Nailed it. Okay. So I just wired in, and I wonder if I can switch my Mac over off wireless here. We may get some disruptions, but switching to 2.5 gig would be sweet instead of using Wi-Fi. Okay. Ethernet network. So I'm just going to do this quickly. Off. Okay, so it says it's working. I'm going to jump. Are we back? I can't actually hear myself. We are back. Woohoo! Okay, sweet. So we're on a much more stable connection, and I think we are ready to get started. So just before we go about doing all that, oh, hold on. We're gonna go portrait. No, bam. This is the setup. It's a mess, but should be fun. Should be fun to work with. I'd lift it up and show you, but it's heavy and plugged in. So we're just gonna go from here. So when I start projects heavy and like this, plugged in. So we're just gonna go from here. Bring this with me. So this is YouTube. When I start projects heavy and like this, plugged in. So we're just gonna leave that over there and close all that. We're good. Okay, so there's Debian. There's the Debian website, and I'm gonna put OBS over on here. Pop this over like that, and let's do that. Boom. And so that should have chat over here, and we should have stuff over here. All right, let me know in the chat if things look scuffed. It's unwise to run NAS on Arch. I definitely wouldn't. Personally, so I think a NAS is a really good case for Debian. Debian's just like slow, stable, perfectly open source, all of that jazz. I think it's a good place to go. I'm going to avoid Ubuntu for all of its canonical stuff. And I'm also just really comfortable on Debian. That's where I've built a lot of my expertise. So we're going to go with that. So let's go ahead and open up this. Do I have a note for this? I don't. Oh, a little showcase. If you guys haven't seen yet, I recently revamped my website. It's all on AWS. I'm going to be I don't know, sharing that at some point. This is a YouTube video I was trying to make before I went on a little vacation. and I just could not manage to get the words out. But this is all hosted on AWS. I spent a lot of time kind of learning how Route 53 works. Excuse me. S3 buckets and all that jazz. And I want to talk about sort of like cloud engineering and things like that, sort of going over how this website was built. Should be kind of fun. I need to learn Debian ASAP. 13 is almost here. Is it really already? Wow, I feel old. That's exciting. Debian 13 should be a nice release. It's always nice when Debian's new. Okay. So let's make a plan. Let's go Debian-NAS.md. So every time I do a project like this, I try to map it out in Markdown first. It just kind of helps me know what's going on. Just flick back over here. Cool. Is there a way I can do... Sorry, guys. I'm just playing around a little bit with configuration and learning how things work first. I am still new to the game. Okay, cool. So, what do we want to do? I guess we want a NAS running just raw Debian. I'm interested in doing this because I don't want to use TrueNAS or anything like that. I think they're interesting, but I want to kind of learn Samba and NFS and configuring that stuff from scratch myself. And so starting from just a basic Debian installation is a really nice way to get exposed to a lot of cool stuff. And then also just like, I don't have to deal with cruft on top of my Linux system. If I want to mess around with this some other way, then I don't have to work around all of like the TrueNAS blockers. I can just use Debian, and that's nice. So we're going to start, we want a NAS running just raw Debian. ZFS, right? Definitely ZFS boot menu as well. I'm using TrueNAS at the moment, but I'd like more control as well. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I think like those tools are really cool, right? Like TrueNAS, Open Media Vault, all of that. I have no hate for it. It's just like, I want to learn by doing myself. It looks interesting. Are you going to use Portainer or something like this, or raw Docker? For the NAS, let's talk about the grand vision, because that's actually a really cool question. So this is going to be a child of homelab. I don't have that yet, but here's what we'll do. A little no, we'll do it like this: homelab index markdown, homelab grand plan. So here's what I want to do. First off, Kubernetes. I want everything done with Kubernetes K3s. I've done a Docker setup before, and it worked really well. I was running like a Minecraft server and some other stuff. I was self-hosting my website and all that jazz. I'm really interested in learning Kubernetes right now, so I want to go that route. And so I have this i7 mini PC. Actually, this guy. I've got this guy. So I'm going to run Proxmox on that, because VM orchestration is another cool thing to learn, you know? I have this i7 mini PC. I'm going to run Proxmox on. Then the Proxmox VMs are going to be K3s nodes, right? So we'll have a head and compute nodes. This guy, the NAS, is just going to be, what is it called? PVC, I think. Like the just for storage. So you can set up Kubernetes, just go like, hey, I'm just going to grab this stuff. Let's see. TrueNAS ditched Kubernetes. Can't speak. TrueNAS ditched Kubernetes for raw Docker because it had needless overhead. Oh, fair enough. I mean, yeah, I think there is no reason for me to be doing Kubernetes in my home lab if I'm interested in performance, right? But I'm not, right? What I'm interested in is learning Kubernetes. I've spent time running Docker and Docker Composey things, and I've got that all on GitHub too. I want to do this just for the coolness of it. TrueNAS, and then is Proxmox working well with the P core and E core of the new Intels? I don't know. That's a really good question. That's a good question. Is Proxmox, like, how does it distinguish which cores? I think on this i7, because it's a mobile processor, it might be mostly E cores, but I don't know. Here, let's questions. That's kind of interesting. Questions from stream. How does Kubernetes, or no, not, it's Proxmox. How does Proxmox handle E-core versus P-cores on Intel processors? I don't know. Pablo, hey, how you doing? Oh, I didn't know that. I'm using TrueNAS scale and almost never had a problem, but sometimes it's a bit locked up if you want to be in the guidelines. What's your i7? What is this thing? I think it's a 1200 series. Let me do a quick search. It's managed by the kernel. Newer kernels manage it well, but can we choose which VM use P-core or E-core? You guys are asking interesting questions. I have no idea. Have I been streaming just my face? I'm typing straight into Markdown. Yo, okay. My bad, guys. Let's jump here. Now you should be able to see. I've been typing this whole time. Just for storage. Forehead. Yep. Okay, so that's kind of the grand plan. I want my i7 mini PC. We're going to run Proxmox on it. We're going to have a separate K3S node for the head and compute, even though that's not necessary. We're going to do it just for fun, just for the learning of it. I'll probably set it up with Terraform and stuff. The NAS is not going to be a compute node. It's just going to be a storage node. I know there's ways to do that. I don't know how to do it yet. One day we'll get to it. I'm hoping, like, my kind of grand scheme for streaming is to build the homelab live, because I think it would be fun. So the NAS is another server, or running with Proxmox. The NAS is another server. So let's go back to my face, right? So we've got this guy, this i7 machine, little mini PC, kind of awesome. That's going to be handling, that's Proxmox. Then we've got this guy over here. That's the NAS. Yeah, name a more scuffed streamer. Oh my god. So that's kind of the big plan. You have a tiling manager in macOS. I do. That was my YouTube video, Aerospace. Check out my last YouTube video if you want to see how I set that up. It's super, super convenient. I would not use macOS if I couldn't use a tiling window manager. There's just no way. There's just no way. Okay. Cool. Let's get down to business. So we have homelab, grand plan, and I'm just going to try to keep track. We're just going to link sort of like parent of... how does the linking work again? I think I can just do Debian nas.md. Can I go file? Yeah. Nice. Okay. And this is homelab index.md. Do I need these? I think I set it up so I don't. Nice. Cool. Yeah, if you haven't seen my last YouTube video, I talk about setting up Aerospace on my GitHub. We're not looking at my face again. Okay, great. On my GitHub, if we look at Mac Auto Setup, this whole thing configures basically this machine in like 10 minutes. I think less. So it's pretty sweet. If you like my setup, you can have it. It's free. 10 minutes. Copy this line on an absolutely fresh Mac OS install, and it'll just work. Okay. I've never touched Mac OS. I can't afford to sink so much money on a machine that barely games. Respect. Yeah. I got lucky. The Mac is like not this Mac. That's a whole other story. But like Macs are just very normal in work settings, and so I have a Mac for work, not this one. I don't stream on my work Mac. But yeah. Okay. Cool. Where were we? We have the homelab grand plan, and we were talking about what we're gonna do today. Is your Mac Silicon? Yes, Apple Silicon. Oh my god, I would not run an Intel Mac. They're just like they're not good machines, if you ask me. Like, if my options were an Intel Mac or anything else on the market, like I would probably, if it weren't for Apple Silicon, I would be on a framework laptop running some version of Linux. That's definitely what I would be up to. And honestly, some days I yearn, I yearn for a Linux machine. Okay. So ZFS, so where were we? We want a NAS running just Debian. So step one is going to be flash install media with Debian 12. Step 2, use ZFS boot menu install script. macOS looks limiting for my work in cybersecurity. It might be. I'm not by any means a cybersecurity expert, so I wouldn't be surprised if the lack of like tinkerability, you know, like on Linux, you can really just do whatever you want with your system. It might not be as good. Oh yeah, the ThinkPads are awesome. Okay. Take it from there. So I think from there, we want, I don't know. Let's see if we can get this far. Let's just boot into ZFS boot menu. I actually have this NAS running ZFS boot menu already, but we're going to start over. If I could install Arch on M4 Mac, it would be so good. You can go through Asahi Linux, and I've tried it. It's just not, it's not optimal. It's not like, hey, I have an Apple Silicon device running Linux. That's not what it feels like. Like, to me, it's kind of like you think in your head, Asahi Linux is going to be the best of both worlds. I get the amazing hardware from Mac, and I get to run Linux. Instead, you end up with like the worst of both worlds. And I don't mean this to like throw shade at the Asahi Linux team. Like, I think they're doing really cool stuff, but the battery life is really bad in comparison to Mac OS. Refresh rate isn't like, you can't go up to, you're not getting your dynamic refresh rates up to 144. Sleep isn't as good. You're dealing with the fact that it's like ARM Linux binaries, which are like every once in a while you get a little hitch and it's annoying, all of that stuff. No, you can run Asahi with Arch Linux. It's just that Asahi starts, like, Asahi's main line is Fedora. There is an Asahi Arch installation, and I have run it. It's kind of cool. Okay, let's just try to do this. So we're going to go download Debian. I'm just going to switch this to my face. Because I don't want to go around rummaging through my computer. Okay, cool. We've got that. So I'm going to take that. We can do this all from the terminal. And I just want to warn you guys, like, I'm by no means an expert in anything. So if, like, I'm going to ask Claude questions here live. I'm going to be Googling things. I'm going to be like making mistakes. That's all sort of part of the game. So be prepared. Make dir. What am I doing? I want to put my Debian ISO in here. Debian-NAS. Okay, and I want to be in tmux because that's a little bit more comfortable for me. The best thing in macOS apart from the optimization is iPhone widget. Yeah, dude, definitely being completely immersed in the Apple ecosystem is nice for convenience, even though you kind of have to sell your soul a little bit. Okay, I want... What do I want here? Where's my Debian stuff? I want this. We're going to grab that, put it in here. HomeLab without mistake is not a HomeLab. Agreed. Okay, now, usually I would use Balena Etcher. We're not on my face, right? I would use this, Balena Etcher, to flash stuff. It's nice. It's pretty good. I like it a lot. But I'm pretty sure we can do this the cool way with DD. I just don't know how to do it. I've done it before, but I would like to do it again. So we're going to take this little USB guy and see what we can do. See if we can put Debian on it. Now, DD utility copies the standard input to the standard output. The input data is read and written in whatever. If input reads are short, blah, 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 blah. How do we use DD for this? Okay, 1 second. HomeLab. Okay, I'm going to pop this over onto the screen with me. Wow, this is... this is insanity. Sorry, I'm having trouble. I didn't use Debian since Debian 11. Is there a version of Debian 12 with a net install? Oh, there's a bazillion versions of Debian. You're going to have no problem finding a version that matches what you're looking for. I think I'm going for the net install here because my internet is wicked fast. Very happy about that. Yes. Maybe I'll just do the DVD install. Requires 3.7 gigabytes. Wow. Wicked fast internet, though. Okay, cool. So we're going to follow some advice from good old Claude. Sometimes I like to ask it sort of like certain how-tos, because you can kind of like learn through its explanations. So let's jump back to here. And so you can see, I don't know the exact syntax. I'm out of USB ports. Okay, this is an interesting issue. I guess we don't need the cam link running right now, and I can plug it back in and configure later. We're going to go that route. Okay, USB using disk destroyer. I personally prefer to use an installation without internet where I can check the SHA-256 beforehand, even if the net install should check downloaded files. Given your background in cybersecurity, that level of like concern for detail makes sense. That checks out. Yeah, watch me blow up my computer. Like I'm gonna make a mistake, but whoops. Hello? Why don't I have that? Okay, I'm on Mac OS. So I'm missing this. To me, I would consider core utils, but it's not. Let's see. I have to use disk util. To list? All right, whatever. Wow, that's ugly. Okay. So, dude, I remember when I was working on, I forgot what Mac project it was. Oh, it was the T2 Mac. That makes a lot of sense. The Mac OS's way of handling disks is just incredibly confusing to me. I do not know how it works. Like, it's bizarre. Why do we have so many different things? I don't know. And also, my USB stick's not showing up. Okay. Sorry for flicking back and forth like this. Let's see. Why is the fella not showing up? Okay. Well, I'm going to try it in another thing. Does it show up now? It doesn't. I didn't think this was where we were gonna have problems. The USB stick? Seriously? Let's try a different USB stick. It's too wide to go beside the other thing plugged into the USB right now. This is... Okay. I'm fine. Ugh. Okay. Maybe this. Maybe this will work. Please? Come on. Wow. All right. Like, what? Are we serious? This can't be this can't be the hitch. this can't be the primary problem of this stream. Run disk util list again. I mean, yeah. Here, I'll run it on screen. But disk util list, I'm not seeing anything. And what was the other guy? What is DFH? DF, display free disk space. Now, I think this is the ultimate meaning of the Mac. Yeah, seriously, like, anytime you want to do something cool, the Mac is worse. Is kind of the setting, right? Like, if you want to have a Zoom call, it's a lot nicer to be on Mac than on Linux. But if you want to do fun things, it's harder. I don't know what's happening. Okay. This has never been a problem before. I've used my Mac for this many times. Why might it not work? We've tried 2 USB sticks. We've tried 2 separate USB... No, we haven't tried 2 separate USB dongles. Try ls... All right, let's give that a shot. ls/dev/disk. Are we kidding me right now? I can't type. Cannot access, no. Disk star? Well, I mean, we're not... I'm okay. Okay. Yeah, we're getting the same output here. We are getting the same output here. Okay. Do we have any new output? We do. Maybe this works. Disk util list. Huzzah! Okay. I just the dongle that didn't have enough room, I just shoved a little harder and we got there. Okay, cool. So we have this. Now we're going to DD. Now, we're going to be very clear. Disk 4. We're not going to blow up my computer. Right, guys? Right, guys? Input file. To flash USB stick. Okay. Status progress. Block size. That's what BS is. What does F data sync do? Let's take a look. Man DD. And I want to know what this conv flag is for. Conversion. Are you all with me? Can you all see this? Yes. Okay. For DD, I think you got to use /dev/rdiskx. Because rdisk is raw disk. Okay. I will see. Yeah, it looks like we're also getting that from Claude, which is nice. Because /dev/diskx is opened by disk arbitration D. Damn. I'm really learning something today. Thank you. Very cool. Okay. I am very interested in what this is. May not be what is this conv setting? I want to know what it does. Conv. Block. And we're using specifically. Anyways. Okay. So the way they do it is apparently we're going to unmount what will be the infrastructure of your home lab using your router, a switch. I will talk about that in a second. I want to get this part done. Burn in disk utility. I might be able to. Let's find out. I want to do it with DD because I know it's available on Linux, and I want to learn specific Linux commands. Eventually, I would like to study for my Linux Foundations, like certified systems administrator type thing. So I think we're going to go this way. Okay. Okay. So, via disk util, we're going to unmount disk /dev/disk4. Learn to use disk destroy. Oh, yeah. Cool. I love it when commands hang. Okay, cool. Now, what happens if I list again after it's been done? Okay, it still lists, it's just unmounted. I'm guessing that means through Finder it's no longer going to appear, and the answer is yes, it no longer appears in Finder. Awesome. Now what we're going to do is try this. We're going to copy from downloads. We have the DVD ISO here. And so we're going to go sudo dd input file, run mount to see mount points. We don't have, there's no disk 4 anymore, right? Grep disk 4? Yeah. Which makes sense. We just unmounted it, so it should no longer be there. That's cool. If there is a command where you should. Okay. Excellent. We're just gonna run it. Input file equals. Can I do relative paths? Probably. Okay. Output file equals /dev/rdisk, and that's raw disk. And I'm guessing that must be a Mac specific thing. And then let's see if I can still do status progress. Okay. Mac OS DD syntax. It's such a pain. The status progress isn't available in Mac OS's BSD version of DD. Okay. So I won't actually know if this worked. Well, no, I will. I won't get to see the progress, which is annoying. Given that we have learned how this works, I will use Boolean Etcher because it is now safer. I think that is the way. I don't have a problem with that because I feel like we've learned a little something. DD's syntax is fairly simple. DD input file equals the thing you're burning onto the output file, OF. Cool. That's a little learning. I wish DD had like a dry run. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like, I need to turn that off. Okay. So, all right, we're waiting on the download now. But yeah, I think that's probably going to be a safer approach at this point. Or do we risk it? Can I set votes? Is that a thing? Engage with your audience. Start a poll. Risk it for the biscuit? Belina Etcher. Lame. Just do it? Okay. Wait. I've never run a poll before. I want to know. I want to know how it works. 100% so far. 3 votes. Oh my god. Okay. I think that's in the bag. Let's just do it. Invalid number 4M. Lol. Okay. Remember to remove the status progress. I wonder if that's what caused the invalid number. Invalid number 4M. Let's try this. Ah. Okay. So macOS prefers the uppercase, or is that always the case? I don't know. We'll just wait it out. Do I have anything over here? I do. Boop. So we'll just wait. See how it goes. Anybody have any questions? How's your Monday been? How y'all doing? It will take a bit. Yep. I'm guessing, I mean, it's what, almost 5 gigs, was it? So probably a little bit. In the meantime, oh, that's my website. DD is very slow on macOS. Huh, good to know. Well, luckily, we tmuxed it. So we can hop back out and take a look. Homelab. So, what have we done so far? We want to jump to Debian-NAS. Steps. Let's do this. We'll do it like this. Step 1. Flashing media. We did sudo dd input file equals path to Debian ISO. OF equals nope, /dev/rdiskx. And then we did, what was the last part? It was like size of something. Ah, good question. So about my infrastructure. Yes. So what do I have? I've got a router from my ISP that eventually I want to replace, run like OpenWRT or something like that on it. And then I've got a 2.5 gig switch in my office. So that's here. That's going to be where my major homelab devices are. So that's going to be like my NAS is going to be here. My like Proxmox machine is going to be in here. And then my gaming PC and my Mac. So that's all 2.5 stuff here. Then I'm going to run Ethernet from the office to the home theater. There's going to be my old 1 gig switch, and that's going to be to the Apple 4K TV and like Blu-ray player and things like that. So that's the core. And then for services we're going to run, I'm going to put Kubernetes on, we're going to run Kubernetes, and some services we're going to run. I really want to do Home Assistant. I had like a smart homey setup a while ago, and it was really nice. But after the move, I didn't reconfigure it because I was like, I'm just going to do Kubernetes. We're going to redo the whole thing, switching to Zigbee, all that jazz. So you will use two switch directly connected. I haven't decided yet. I think, how many ports I got on my router? I think I'm going to run from the router to switch 1 and from the router to switch 2, not chaining the switches. I don't think chaining the switches would cause a problem, but I'm not sure. I don't think it would. No. I did take a networking course. That shouldn't cause any problems. However, why would I want to do it this way? Because I only have a few ports on my 2.5 gig switch, and I don't want to waste them on a 1 gig path. Yeah. And your VM can be seen has another switch. Your VM can be seen has another switch. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Your VM can be seen has another switch. Oh, I can run. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Do you mind clarifying? Also, let's take a look. Let's see if this is working. Okay. So we've got this. I'm just going to jump out of here. New session -t db. And we're going to jump over to the NAS. We're still going. Okay. All right, man. We're still going. So yeah, we're still waiting on DD to run. If that doesn't work, in the meantime, I guess I can run or can download Balena Etcher. If this fails, not a big deal. Except it refuses to download. Why do you refuse to be downloaded? Oh. I think it's working. Wait, the network? Come on now. What are you doing? Let's just try that again. There we go. So yeah, I'm going to install that. Okay. Let's jump back. So I'm going to jump back to this so y'all can see what I'm up to. NAS. Okay. If I look at my network in OpenWrt, my TrueNAS machine appears as multiple devices, including the VMs and everything, as if they were connected through a switch. Oh, okay, yes. The VMs, the VMs I expect to appear as their own devices on the network. That's correct, yes. So they should appear as like physical hosts, is what I would expect. It's a little more heavy for the ARP resolution and everything. Yeah, that should be fine though. Like my network is small. I would be really surprised if we get to a point where in my tiny little network, my router's getting absolutely slammed. Especially if like I have leftover like N100 machines. I think one of those little N100 mini PCs, there's no way I bog it down with a couple of like 2.5 gig network machines. Probably. Maybe. Maybe. Okay. In the meantime, we've got this. I think I installed that, so now I should be able to just launch Balena. Yes. Okay. So if this fails, we'll jump back to that. In the meantime, this is the website I've been working on. I hate front-end development, and so one of the philosophies I've been developing about my career, because it feels like yes, I agree. Your ISP router can be very weak. On a side tangent, it feels like you kind of have to know everything in 2025, especially if you're like early career. But I've been trying to avoid the habit of like trying to deep dive everything, because then you spend time everywhere and you don't learn a lot very well. You just learn a lot about a little, like you learn a little bit about a lot of things, and that's not how I want to go. So I have forsaken all front-end development, and I have given my website to Claude. And it worked pretty well. The cloud stuff, the AWS stuff, I did all myself because I actually want to learn that. But yeah, I was really happy not having to do any CSS. My original router only supported a maximum of 1 million requests a second. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. This thing looks pretty decent. I'm with an internet service provider called Beanfield, which is, I think, only in Canada. And they were pretty good about putting up some decent like hardware. But yeah, I guess we'll see. If I start getting problems, then we'll know. Hey, DD finished. OpenWrt and a mini PC, it's more like 14. Wow, that's huge. That is a massive improvement. Okay, cool. All right, so this thing seems to be done. Cool. We can pop that out. Okay. Now, what is our next step? It's to see if this machine, this NAS, boots up and can actually see my bootable media. So we're going to unplug. Did you do the SHA-256 check? I didn't. I break a lot of reasonable security rules. How do we do that? How to do SHA-256 check. I'm really lazy when I homelab, and I'll just skip really important steps. SHASM. Okay. SHASM-A256, file name ISO. All right, let's do it on the thing that I did. I used the DVD. Let's run it. Okay, real talk. I'm going to try to be as open as possible about the things that I don't know, which is really difficult for me because I grew up like a perfectionist, right? And I hid when I didn't know things. What are we checking here? I understand that there is some sort of like there's some checksum and we're comparing it against something else. But what am I comparing this to? I guess here? Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool. I've never done that before. So, I've been doing this for years. I have distro hopped many a time. I have literally never done this. It should be the same. Yeah. So, what's that? The way I understand this is a checksum basically takes all of the data, like a bunch of data, and like logical sums it so that you have like one much shorter piece of data that's easier to compare. So the reason we do this is if we have data on one end that could get corrupted on the way, we calculate a checksum, which is a much shorter piece of data, and we calculate the checksum on the other end, which is also a much shorter piece of data. And if these two are the same, we know that there was nothing corrupted in the middle. That's my understanding from like one networking course. So if when I calculate the sum here, and I calculate this, and I go check the sum over here, which, yes, you can all see, and I see that they are the same, this means that nothing went wrong during the download process. Now, can I checksum the device itself, right? Can I, like, I just output it to /dev/ this. Does that work? Like, am I doing nonsense here? I don't know. Can't do that. Oh my God. It's really hard to be coherent on stream. Yeah, I didn't think that would work. Okay. All right, team. We're going to give this a shot. So let's jump over, and now I'm going to throw you over here. That's going to populate soon. I'm going to I'm just gonna do the face for a bit. Plug it in. And we're gonna reboot and see how this goes. Okay. Now, is it plugged in? It's not. Okay, booting up the NAS, and we'll see what happens. Hello? Computer? I think you can do a DD. By the way, you can just do a sudo. Sudo bang bang. That one I do know. I don't know why. Even though I know this, like, oh, hey, look at that. It's working. You can do a DD if/dev rdisk and pipe it to the sum command. This guy knows what he's talking about. Okay, hold on. We gotta jump back and do that. DD without an OF just dumps the data to standard out. I did forget to summon the god of homelab. I'm gonna see if I can reduce the delay, by the way, because I'm seeing your comments fairly late, and I would love to see them a little bit sooner. That would be cool. So let me see what I can do about that. Can I do this? Let's see. Let's see. This is going to be Debian 12. It's already faster than most other streams I've seen. Really? Okay. Well, then maybe I won't set it to ultra low latency. We'll see. Let's test it. If you guys are all okay with me experimenting a little bit and seeing what works, then we can experiment a little bit and see what works. Here's a question, which I've forgotten the answer to. This little thing, how do I access its BIOS, or at least the boot menu? Usually it's like F8 or F11. Okay. I know this keyboard has not been my friend in the past for machines like this. So, hold on. Oh, I can't change the latency after I go live. Interesting. Ultra low takes down your quality a lot. Okay, cool. You're fine. You need a dirty cherry keyboard. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Okay. Do I really? Oh! I know what to do. Okay. This is unfortunate, but it'll do. I will have to use the Mac keyboard on the Mac. Does it work? And then I can borrow this. Debian 13 is coming out in a couple of days. Are you serious? We're going to do all this work and Debian 13 is coming out next week? Gang, do we do something else? Debian 13 is coming out next week. Do we do something else? August 9th. Gang. Gang. Do we do something else? I don't know. Okay, let's start a poll. Start a poll. On Mac. Wait for Debian 13. Raw dog Debian 12 today. All right. Here's the poll, fellas. On Mac, you hold Option to enter the boot menu. Yes, that I know. I'm curious about the specific, like the NAS that I'm working on, because we need to boot that guy. Or we need to get into that boot menu. Oh, 50-50 split. We need more votes, team. We need more votes. Install Debian 13. You're smart. Because we could. I could run through unstable, right? Which version of it is? Wow, English? Which? What? Is it SID? Debian. Let's just search up Debian and see which versions we can do. Wow, this is wholly unuseful. Are you still looking at my face here? Hold on. Downloads. Okay, so is it unstable? I forget which one's next. Debian unstable? Testing. Haven't been accepted. Okay, we want testing. I've run Debian testing. Okay. See, the thing is, I have run Debian testing before. Raw Dog Debian 12 today. Wow. Massive victory for Raw Dog Debian 12 today. Okay. We have a couple of interesting options here, right? Because we could, one of my problems with running Debian testing is that as soon as Debian 13 is released, testing becomes setting up for Debian 14, right? But I could hard code the names to Trixie, which is Debian 13's code name, and then we would be okay. What this means, though, is this process becomes a little more complicated, and I don't know if my ZFS boot menu script works on Debian 13. Fuck it, we ball, right? Like, we just go? Yeah. Yeah, we just go. So the next question is, during the install process, what do we have to do? If we want to go to testing, I think it's just updating apt sources and doing an apt update, apt upgrade, apt update, apt install type thing. Let's have some fun. Like, worst case, it doesn't work, and then I fix this off stream, right? Like, who cares? Okay. Okay. Yeah, are we in agreement? I think we're in agreement. I just need to reconnect this keyboard. There are so many cables right now. Hello? Keyboard. Work. You can do some experimenting, but if your final NAS, you should wait for security. Yeah, agreed. Install Debian 13 today. You guys are wild. I didn't think running out of USB ports was going to be my primary problem this stream, but here we are. Note to self, upgrade your ports. Okay, where do I plug you in to get you to work? Also, why aren't you working in the first place? This is not the hard part. Why do I feel like the most chaotic streamer? Why do I feel like other people are like really, everything goes really smooth and it like makes sense, and then I'm here just sort of nothing works, running around. Thoughts? Okay. Cool. We have the Mac keyboard working. The Magic Keyboard now works. Okay. And we're going to take the big boy and plug it in. This is some stuff. Okay. Let's boot in. Let's do this. Let's try F8 and F11. Maybe delete. Come on, gang. Okay, show me anything. Am I the only one who, like, just slaps the keyboard on repeat with all the keys that I think it might need to be until we get boot menu? Is that just me? Come on. Give me boot menu. Give it to me. Universal boot key. Bastards. Okay. Let's Google. Is this stupid keyboard not working? I'm gonna lose it. All right. Sorry, team. Let me jump over here. We're just taking a look at this. No, I don't want your I don't want your damn newsletter. All right? I want to see what the key is to boot into this system. Because apparently it's not. I think I want this. What the hell? I ain't clicking that. I cannot believe this is what I have been reduced to. Man, I really should have put this in my own docs. Okay. Universal boot key. I wish there was one. Am I crazy? Does that exist? BIOS. Let's just... Oh, maybe this guy's blog. This is not what I'm looking for. Cool blog, though. Okay. Just want to access the BIOS. This cannot be that hard. Oh, the universal boot key is pressing every key. Yeah, facts. If you can get to a root shell, you can try EFI boot manager or something. Yep. Maybe. All right, let's take a look. Ask GPT. Works every time. All right, you know what? Let's see what Claude has to say about this. Homie, I've got an N100 mini PC. I need to access the BIOS. What is the key? It doesn't seem to be F2, F8, delete, or F11. How do I make sure it's got search on? Ask GPT. Wow, I was off by 1 each time. F7 or F12. All right, cool, gang. Let's give this a shot. Right. I think my T2 Mac video starts the same way. It's T2 Mac Linux install how. And yeah, it really does feel like that sometimes. Okay. It was whatever. We're just F7, F10, yeah. Let's do this. Also, so I don't have a screen hooked up to this device. I am currently working off of the cam link being captured in OBS. So I am looking at OBS to see what we're up against right now. It is what's up. I feel like get to the point, homie. True. Come on. Come on. One of these buttons gotta be it. I do have, so I can actually see output. I guess you're seeing it. You're seeing, oh, come on. You're also seeing the output on stream. So I do know it's working. The cam link stuff seems to function almost identically as like just having a screen. It's to a monitor. I think the cam link, the computer will perceive that as a monitor because it's straight up just like HDMI to HDMI. And then, but the HDMI goes to USB as opposed to the screen. I could. You guys won't be able to see what happens, though. We can try it. We can try it. Let's try it. Oh, boy. All right, you'll have to bear with me for a sec. Gang, is this content? Like, are we doing it? Is this what you were looking for? I know, but I've had a PC refuse to boot to BIOS when connected to a TV. Dude, okay, I had a very similar wacky issue, which, like, got me on a rabbit hole of, like, why are TVs so different from monitors, right? It's like, it's such a weird distinction. Okay. I'm looking at the little screen I got here. I'm gonna need to up my AC. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm sweating. These lights are really hot. What were my options again? Could be the input you use on the TV monitor. Yeah, I mean, so I was reading up on like kind of the history of TVs and monitors, and apparently there's a lot of like subtle differences that make them not work, like TVs just not work very well as monitors. Okay, I've had this issue before, but I forget what to do. Wait a second. Wait a second. I think the keyboard's not working. I think it's not like it's not. Yeah. It's not reading the keyboard properly. I think this cable is borked. Nope. Does this thing have a USB-C input? It does. All right. Now, here's another thing. I would be really surprised. I grew up at a time, or at least I remember the time, when you couldn't do anything in BIOS without like a PS2 interface device. Like back when it was like actually BIOS, you know? Not UFI. Yeah, the keyboard wasn't working. Okay, cool. PSP, PS2 to USB adapter. Those little green things. Yeah. No, I mean, so my dad's in tech, right? So like, he's been hoarding tech since like the 80s. So we just had like 6 PS2 keyboards from the good old days, TM, and I kind of miss it. Those clunky ass keyboards were there's a charm to them, you know. You guys know what I mean? I feel like I know what I mean. Keyboards with curled up cables. Yep. Like I've become a keyboard enthusiast, you know? At least like everyone during COVID was a keyboard enthusiast if they were in tech, right? But I built a couple. I was actually like sort of building them and selling them to friends and all that. Lubing thousands of switches. And but it's not the same. It's not the same as the classics. By the way, I really appreciate all the help today. Like, I don't know which button it was because I was hitting them all, but we got one. Okay, hold up, gang. So that worked. I'm going to see if I can get you guys' vision on this. This is a time. This is a time, truly. Okay, we're not getting output. It might just need to be like refreshed or something. Okay. I might take this to the point where I can SSH into it and then we can see. Cuz yeah, maybe that's the play. Y'all are just going to have to look at my face for a bit. Sorry. Capture card. Try rebooting with. Yeah, I think that's what it is because I tried like replugging in the HDMI cable and it didn't work. So I think it didn't like being at the boot menu and then having its monitor disconnected. It's like it's really picky. This has got an attitude. Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna grab some water. Okay. Let's run this. And get rid of this cable that doesn't work. HDMI hot plug support. HTML. What does HTMI stand for? I feel like you're teaching me a lot more than I'm teaching. I'm really just here hitting buttons and everybody's telling me stuff. See, in my head, right, when I started streaming, the way that I was thinking about it was like I miss running office hours as a teaching assistant. HDMI. I'm an idiot. There we go. Okay. Yeah, as a okay, hold on. I just need to bring this somewhere I can read it effectively. Okay. Boom. I'm going to move this guy over here. Okay. Nice. What was I saying? Yes. I wanted to start streaming because I missed teaching. I missed teaching students. I used to be a teaching assistant during my master's and PhD, and that was I loved running tutorials, right? So in my head, I'm like, I'm going to get back to teaching by streaming. And then I show up here, and y'all are teaching me way more than I'm teaching you. Just open the source as a project windows in OBS and full screen it. Yep, that's what we got going on now. I think we want to go into expert install because we're going to mess around with things. Gang, gang. Okay, it's been a long time since I've done this. I think I just want to execute a shell, right? Let me think. I think I need my notes. I need my notes from ZFS boot menu stuff, because what I really want to do is get into a shell and do like DE bootstrap, but I don't really know how to do that anymore because it's been so long. I guess we don't need to do that. I guess I can just install because I'm not doing the ZFS boot menu stuff. Wait, I can look at my own GitHub. All right, swap. Let's jump over. Sorry, cables everywhere. Oh, cool. Emojis, just what I wanted. Why my internet so slow? Okay. Boot into your live environment, open a terminal, run the following to start the script. Oh, that's how I was doing it. I got the live installation environment, but I can probably just do that from... I can just drop into shell, I think. Let's try. I mean, there's nothing to lose, right? Let's just do stuff. After this message, you will be running Ash, a Bourne shell clone. The root file system is a RAM disk. The hard disk file systems are mounted on /target. The editor available to you is Nano. It's very small and easy to figure out. I don't have Vi? I don't have VI? I'm gonna lose it. Okay, hold on. Yeah, we're not gonna do ZFS boot menu today, are we? Are we? We could, but that means I need to do the DD process again because I didn't read my own notes. All right, I think it will be more fun today to get Debian testing running. I think people would have more fun with that. It's also not too hard. So what we're gonna do is install, right? We have Debian installer, detect and mount installation media, load installer components from installation media. Let's do, all right. Yep. What is this? Time zone. Where's Canada? Oh, Canada. But generally prefer the US keyboard. Nope. Can I just tab? Yeah. Don't need that. Don't need to do that. Yeah, we're just gonna mess with this as like a throwaway, I guess. Just have some fun. Hello? I think my face is covering stuff I need. What makes a keyboard Canadian? French. So there's like specific French stuff that we need. It's locale flavor. Tell me more about that. I'm curious. But yes, we need special characters for like accent aigu and accent grave and so on. My French is not great. But yeah. Installer components to load. How much of this do I want? Choose mirror. I don't need to choose. I'm happy with the default mirror. Oh, this is like what to install. I forget sometimes how bare bones Debian can be. I think we're going to... Can we go... Oops. None of the extra installer components. Yeah, we don't need injection disk detect. Fuse, load media, free memory from low mem install. Nope, I've got a lot of memory. Network console, open SSH client, secure shell client for the Debian installer. Oh, that would be really nice for when I was doing my ZFS boot menu stuff, because I've had, during that time, I would just crouch over in my living room with this little screen, and then until I could get SSH working, and then I would hop off and work from my laptop. But yeah, looks like you're right. I won't need any, like, there's no way I need a SCSI NIC module, right? Like, that can't be what we're doing. We've already checked the installation media. Choose the next step to the install process. Okay. Well, we've done this. I don't want to abort. I want to proceed. All right, let's try this. Let's take a look. I've never hopped into this part of the installation process. Every time I feel like I kind of know what I'm doing on Linux, I start messing around, and then I'm like, I don't know anything. How's everybody doing? I'm having an interesting time. This is fun. Very tiring, though. Like, it's kind of hard to reply to lots of people while also trying to think about a problem and try to be entertaining all at once. But it's also very fun. Okay. So while we're at it, let's just Debian 12 live let's go Debian testing live install media. Let's go. So while that's running, I'm just kind of taking a look at some other stuff because it's just going. I guess I'll bring you with me. Let's do this. Nope, that's just my face. Let's do this. Yeah. And let's grab that guy. Do I have another USB? I do have my University of Guelph student ID, which I think is hilarious. Look at me. Look how small I was. Look at that guy. Look at this dude. Okay. Let's see. Time zone. Obviously, it's not the testing net install image. Okay. How we doing? How we doing over here? We're still going. I have done like a quarter of what I was hoping to do. I was like, yeah, I can get the NAS running. And then the USB stick doesn't work. And then I find out Debian 13 comes out on August 9th. And then we get stuck on booting. And I'm going to have to tear all this down, too, at the end of today. I got like 50 minutes left before I got to go eat dinner. Absolutely insane. You always think you're going to be able to do more than you do, you know? But that's life. Sort of just need to get used to things take time. You know? Just take time. Like checking the integrity of this installation image. Oh my god. Why did I hit this button? Okay, whatever. Well, the integrity check was kind of unneeded. It definitely was. No, please, no more. I'm just playing around at this point. Because I did like a whole work day prior to this, you know? What happens if I execute a shell? Like, where do you bring me, bro? Like, where are we? Okay. All right, whatever. We're going to abort this. Whatever, yeah. And we're gonna run it back and just install Debian and take it from there. Do I do the live install media? I'll get closer, but at the same time, wait a second. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. Wow, that is tiny. Okay. Well, if you're hanging out in chat, feel free to tell me a little bit about yourself. What's going on? Where are you from? What are you studying? That sort of thing. Better use the console plus expert variant. I mean, I certainly could, but then we would sit here and watch me Google all of the necessary steps. Like, I guess I could DE bootstrap it, but I'm not familiar with the expert installer. Is that sort of like a very small, it's not like the live install, right? Because it's not an actual Debian installation, right? So what exactly do I have access to? Something running in RAM. I guess I could target, I guess I could target the disk from there and do the install, but I don't know. I don't know. I've never done that before. Now, curiously, it's more straightforward. Just from the top down, use each menu item. Okay. I think it's this one. I guess it'll detect for me. Very nice. No, it's okay, guys. You don't need to do IPv6 for me. That's okay. During my networking course, I remember reading about IPv6, and I'm like, I like to be able to read my IP addresses in my personal network. I did know a guy during PhD who is like very interested in IPv6. What do we get? Oh, hold on. This is what we name them. Oh no, my networking course during my PhD, I had to take a number of courses, and so I took like the University of Toronto's network course, right? So I didn't do like a full Network Plus or Cisco or anything like that. This is just like a classic sort of academic setting. For the record, fellas, I did not complete the PhD, right? So this is not a flex. This is not a flex. Domain name. Local. It was a cool course though. Show password. No. Does it show? No. Okay, cool. So I was interested in full name. Sorry, one sec. Yep. Just gonna jump through this and we'll talk about it. Eastern. There we go. I'm waiting for like a long progress bar to tell my story. Okay, cool. So I got into, I was doing a PhD in computer science. after the master's in computer science. But my interests aren't very theoretical or anything like that. I wasn't like a network guru or like an algorithms guy. Use entire disk. Yeah, definitely not those. Those are the hard drives. Yes. Okay. So my master's was in computer science education. I'm particularly interested in... Right, changes to disk, yes. I'm interested in how we teach the kind of problem solving that's necessary to be a good programmer to students. Because this is a good story. Because I felt like a lot of computer science education was just like, the research was, how do we get them to like Python 101 levels of smart, right? But there's this big bubble between like, I can write for loops and I'm a senior engineer. Right now, I'm not a senior engineer. I'm sort of like an intermediate kind of guy. Interesting. Rel time on the / partition. Plus, if you wouldn't mind telling me why, that's actually a really interesting thing to know. So, yeah, I was interested in that. Like, how do we teach problem solving? Because I've always been a teacher. That's what interests me. So I was looking at like rapid formative feedback systems and how we give students feedback on their problem solving process. So I was looking at like static code analysis and things like that for giving more rich feedback to students, right? Cool, fun, it was good. I actually ended up studying a lot of cognitive science because of that, a lot of like psychology, which was an interesting rabbit hole for me. And that like rabbit hole of psychology got me further into like mental health research. So I started doing like human computer interaction research at U of T. And my primary interests there were in smartphone addiction. I still am. This is one of the things that I am like deeply engaged with, is like, I think the attention economy is one of the biggest problems we're facing as a generation. So I'm interested in that. And that's like at its core, a psychology problem, because what we're doing is harnessing a lot of like, by we, what I mean is like Meta and companies like this. What we're doing is sort of harnessing or hijacking brain processes that make things more addictive. So things like variable reward rates. A lot of the UI and UX design is built to be addictive based on research that was done in casinos to make those addictive. So this is really interesting. And so I was looking at like interventions for reducing smartphone addictions and stuff like that. That's why, for example, this is what my phone looks like, right? That's my screen time is, hold on. So that's kind of what my PhD was gonna be on, and then I bailed because I realized I don't like doing research. I really like supporting researchers and learning about cool things and building things and teaching. So that sounded like it would be good for a PhD, but it turns out the process of doing research is very different. And I didn't like it very much. I spent most of my time helping my fellow researchers build what they needed instead of conducting my own research, which is a great way to never complete a PhD. But here you go. Here's my screen time. I'm serious about this smartphone addiction stuff. Anyways, okay. Thought about making content on that too. Yes, absolutely. I'm very interested in it. I just don't know how yet. I've been thinking it through. I actually gave a talk at a hackathon my friend ran. The talk was titled something like, maybe it is the damn phones, how to quit doom scrolling and why you should. And I sort of outline why we should be calling this an addiction, why we should treat it as such. Because I think it's important. I really do. Okay. Access time isn't usually a needed information on files and folders. On an SSD, it usually only uses up write cycles. This is why either disabling it with no A time or making block writes using ... rel time is a good idea. Wow. Okay, I'm going to read up more on that. That's really cool. That's interesting. I'm going to drop that in notes from people who said cool things. Okay, where were we? No, wait, no. Sorry, one sec. Debian. Okay. I've just got your comment sort of plopped in because I want to take a look. Strategies to do that would be a good idea. Oh yeah, maybe we should be appropriating addicting screen time for useful pursuits instead. Strategies to do that would be a good idea. Yeah, okay. So this is something I've thought about too. I hope you guys don't mind sort of going on this less technical tangent. This is really interesting to me. This is like one of the things I do kind of think that I'm an expert in, or at least like close to, right? Not like the bigwigs doing their actual PhD research, but I have read dozens and dozens of papers on this and the psychology. So here's the thing. Appropriating addicting screen time for something useful, I feel is a double-edged sword. So let's lay this out. I myself suffer from anxiety, right? Like I have always, and it's a thing that I work on, right? And a lot of that anxiety comes from feeling like I need to know everything right now. And so I often get myself in these like hyper productive cycles where I'm just like doing a bazillion things, right? Like I'm streaming and making YouTube content, and I'm studying for my AWS certification, and I'm doing a full-time job, and I like do all this other stuff, right? And then what happens is you get like really stressed out. And if you try, you can sort of convince yourself that what you need to do is find ways to squeeze in more work. And if you just do enough work, eventually you won't feel so anxious. But the truth of the matter is like you will never do enough work to achieve all the things you want to achieve. You can achieve a handful of things if you dedicate yourself to them. But you need to do that, you need to cut things out, not add more things in. There's a ceiling on how productive you can really be, right? One of the really interesting things is when you look at like elite level musicians or elite level dancers or like, you know, things like this, or like highly prolific writers, their habits of work are usually like writing for working on their thing for 3 to 4 hours a day, super focused. And then that's most of it, right? And then they sign off. Like maybe they'll do some meetings and things like that, but like that's the core work. And if you try to stretch more than that, you sort of burn yourself out. And so like the most important thing is sort of like sustainability, I think. That's kind of what I've been thinking about. Yeah. Anyways, where were we? Happy to talk about that at any point. It's something that like I find really interesting. This may also make newer versions of software available. You are installing from a DVD image. Even though it contains a large selection of packages, some may be missing. If you have reasonably good internet connection, use of a mirror is suggested. If you plan to install a graphical desktop environment. Interesting. I'm not going to install a GUI. But I do want to be prepared. I wonder if we don't set this up, does that mean I have to go into apt? Always yes here. Okay, cool. Like, yeah, if I don't set that up, does that mean I have to go into like Etsy apt, like list stuff, and set it myself manually later? If you need to use, no, I'm good. Okay. Yeah. Oh, my room is so hot. Apt update upgrade would use the global package repo if you chose no. Okay, cool. Would use the global. Does that mean that apt, the executable, when it doesn't find something in apt sources list, defaults? Or does that mean apt sources list is default filled with the global package repo? Do you know? Also, thanks. This is very informative. I should have set this to install before I went on my rant about smartphones. That would have been smart. I think maybe that's one of those things that'll happen as I get better at this streaming thing, right? Because if you're streaming software development, when do you take a break? Like you just have to decide. But if you're streaming home labbing, there's going to be these long install breaks, you know? It means that an Etsy apt sources list, no, writes the global default entry with your choice. It's a Canadian mirror instead. Cool. Okay, thank you very much. That's really good to know. Cool. Plus, are you like a systems administrator or something like that? You've got like clearly professional levels of knowledge, which has been a massive help to me today. Select and install software. Just jamming at 9. Oh, 10? I love a good progress bar, bro. We're gonna get there. One day. Okay. Let's also think through. I'm gonna jump over to me. So I'll format this real quick. Don't know that. Cool. I'm just like, because you guys have dropped some really useful knowledge. I'm kind of keeping track of questions and interesting things that I'm learning while we go along. I hope you all don't mind. Kind of yes, DevOps for a global telco. Really cool, man. That's awesome. My goal. So currently I'm working as a research engineer, which is like the ideal title for me. I'm very excited about it. But I'm on contract, right? So there's a limit to that possibly if I don't get extended. And so I've been really interested in building up like DevOps, Linux systems administration, and cloud engineering skills, which is part of why I'm kind of streaming. I figure like it would be cool if I could kind of like help students and early career folks like just a little bit before me by showing them my learning process. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. But yeah, any tips you've got on getting good at this sort of thing, let me know. Those new AI voice note-taking devices are good to help you stay off screen but keep connection to your thought streams, I guess. Note-taking devices are good to help you stay off screen. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm actually like I'm a huge analog nerd. So I do a lot of stuff just on paper kind of thing. I keep like a pocket notebook too. Wait. I got these like little pocket notebook guys, and I kind of keep those. That helps me. But yes, those are pretty cool too. I agree. Hey, just dropping in. Super cool to see that you're doing precisely what I am doing with my home lab. Hey, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are, right? Like, I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about this on YouTube, right? But we have movie collections. We want to back them up. You know what I'm saying? And so I think with streaming getting shittier and shittier, right? Like Netflix is just kind of awful, right? I really wanted to move to physical media and then also like have backups of my physical media. So I think a lot of us are going the NAS route these days. Okay. Good luck, though. It's super fun. Let me know how it goes. Ooh. Configuring popularity contest. Because it's Debian, I am happy for them to collect some of my information. But yeah, one quick thing. best advice for getting good at Linux? Treat it like learning a new language. Don't just go on vacation, move there. So, when I first started undergrad, that was exactly how I phrased it. A lot of my fellow students were dual booting, and I was like, no, I'm going all in. And the phrase I used was, if you want to learn French, move to France. So that's sort of encouraging. I've been on Mac lately for the content creation half of it. That's been a little easier, but I always keep Linux devices around. So all my home lab is Linux, which it's not the same, but at the same time it is. I have needed a little bit less friction in my life. Yeah, Mac is Nix, but there are problems you face on Linux that learning how to solve because you face them regularly reinforces your sort of fluency. And I do miss that, but it is I'm sort of spending more time learning, trying to move into Kubernetes and AWS and that sort of thing. And so I've needed to have less to fix on my Linux systems for now. Oh, okay. We're at the task select step. If you don't install a desktop, choose nothing except for the SSHD there if you're comfortable with using the console. Yeah, happy to use the console. I definitely, there's no way I want a desktop environment on my server. Yep, I definitely want SSH and standard system utilities. Missing anything? I don't think so. I don't want web server. What does that do? Does that just set up Nginx or something? What exactly? I don't know. Apache? Probably Apache. I also set up a Proxmox cluster with 3 mini PCs running multiple Ubuntu server VMs that serve as nodes in a K8s cluster. Looking to set up some CI/CD and infrastructure as code to have it more portable. Yeah. So, yeah, you weren't kidding when you said we were doing the same things. I built a little while ago this guy. You might have seen that video, and maybe that's why you're sort of on the channel. I built Proxbox Cube, which was a K8s cluster that spun up. Basically, I used Proxmox, Terraform, Cloud.init, and Ansible to automatically spin up a K8s cluster, which was super cool. Very hard. So I get you. I get what you're doing. Experimenting with Spark jobs. I haven't played around with Spark. I played around with Slurm, but I haven't seen Spark. What's up with that? Uh-oh. What's up, Camlink? Where are we at? Okay, it's just chilling. Just as a heads up, gang, I will be signing off at 8 o'clock, which I find hilarious because we haven't even installed Debian, let alone set up a NAS. So, what are you going to do? It's been fun yapping, though. On the topic of NASes, though, and physical media, I've been buying these steel books. I've got the Indiana Jones series, which has been awesome. Heard about cybernetics in your pedagogy studies. Cybernetics, not a ton. Can you elaborate? Or is there a particular application or some keywords you can throw at me that I might cling on to? Cybernetics in pedagogy. Let me Google. So while we're here, how we relate to the world around us. I'm just going to jump over. I can highly recommend Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Also runs great on Linux using GE Proton. Man, one of the things I really wanted to do was... I'm really interested in like getting a Steam Deck and running Bazite on it and playing around with like how console-like can I make a Linux gaming environment. That would be super cool, and I would love to play around with more Linux gaming because I've done it before, but I've always this is so embarrassing. I default back to Windows because I play League. I play League of Legends, and so I'm a slave to the Riot Games rootkit. Kind of tragic. Sorry, I'm just. Wow, that is completely illegible. Let me see if I can just get this over with, and then we'll jump through. But on the cybernetic stuff, how we relate to the world around us. When I was looking at the cognitive science stuff, a lot of stuff about like externalizing information and how it like extended mind theory came up. I wonder if it's similar. Contemporary educational solutions offer a variety of tools that can. I don't know. I can regular SteamOS on the Steam Deck has a desktop mode giving you a vanilla KDE. Oh, interesting. Includes extended mind. Okay, cool. I can take a look at that. Sorry, one sec. I'm just gonna see if I can SSH into this thing. Wow. What is that? Okay. Let me jump. Oh, wrong thing. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This is kind of hard. Jumping between these machines. Okay. What the? All right, so I'm just gonna see about SSHing, and I'll catch up with you guys in a second. SSH, Nathan at. It's been a while since I've done my home labbing, so I'm a little rusty on my commands and things. Like I used to have a little bit more fluency with Linux, but lately with my day job, I've been writing more code. And so I've been, at least feeling more fluent in Python and things like that, which is nice. But yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I will definitely be installing Vim right away. Includes extended mind. Why was I interested in Bazite in particular? I think I just wanted to feel in control of a Linux system. Like that's really it. Thought that would be fun. Okay, so we're having some trouble. Connecting. Why? Sorry, I need to. What the heck is this? Oh, yeah, I don't want that there. Did I get it right? So we've got this 10. Oh, I think I misread it. That's why. I don't know why it's so fuzzy. This is impossible to read. I think that might be an 8. I think that might be an 8. Okay, let's see. Yeah, first off, I need Vim. Oh. Are you root? I am not root, but I don't have sudo. Sudo doesn't come pre-installed? Interesting. Can I? No, I can't. So I need to back out and log in as root? Sudo dash. Right. Okay. That would have worked. So if I do a sudo dash, can I switch into Nathan? I can. Right. And it's exit to jump back? Yes. Okay. Very cool. Thank you. I'm like regaining my chops. rebuilding my fluency. So I'm in root. I can just apt. I probably want to update before I do other things. The repository can be secure. I really wish this wasn't appearing so blurry. So what are we getting complaints about? The repository CD-ROM, bookworm, official AMD DVD binary with firmware, blah, and I can't see the rest, does not have a release file. Updating from such a repository can't be done securely and is therefore disabled by default. Gotcha. I don't have... Can I at least install Vim? Thank God. Thank God. Or maybe not. It's the install image entry. Okay. Nano / Etsy / apt sources.list. Okay. So I just need to get rid of this. Cool. I wish I had. In the future, we, the chat, would be called your AI assisting you by letting you assist us. The social ecology of mental functions as a framework. In the future, we, the chat, would be called your AI assisting you by letting you assist us. Assisting you by letting you assist us is a really interesting way to think about it. Okay. Control X. Did that save? This is the clunkiest interface. And by that I mean the streaming. The social ecology of mental functions, a teamwork. Interesting. So when we talk about cybernetics, this would include interesting concepts like the fact that like one can learn by watching somebody else's stream and things like that. AI, aka etheric intelligence. This is a lot of terms I am not familiar with. I'm going to be honest with you. This is definitely beyond my wheelhouse a little bit. Interesting though. Okay, so we have update. We've removed that specific thing. Ether, network intelligence. We are now in a position where I can apt install Vim, and I can take a look at SSHing into this thing as soon as this is done. It's constantly clearing. Okay. Now, I want to check if the SSH daemon is running. And to do that, I'm going to do... Wow, I cannot believe I am blanking on this right now. What do I need to do? It's that one thing everybody... Systemd. System control. And it's something like list. What do I list? I need to check if the daemon is running. Just doing a quick Google. Status SH. Okay. Let's go ahead and do system control status SSHD. Yeah. System control status SSHD, I think. So we're active, and we're listening on port 22, and okay, maybe it's yet another issue with my Mac. 111.29. Maybe that's 2 8s. Maybe that's 2 8s. That could be it. Oops. Yep, it's 2 8s. It was just blurry, guys. Thank Christ I can jump back here. Okay. What do I want to do? I want to put OBS. I want to jump here. I want to put OBS over here. And then I want to get my terminal. I want to bop that back over there. Go over here. Okay. Sweet. Then I want to switch sides. Extra sweet. Okay. That's that Tulpen, if you want to check where it listens. I'm actually very curious about that. That's a lot of flags. Let's do man pages, because I'm curious what all of those do. I know netstat. I know of it, at least. Thanks, man pages. Super useful. Whoops. Okay. I know there's a Debian package that has a bunch of like net tools. I think it might actually be net tools. So let's do this, because we're going to have to work like this for a little bit. Apt install net tools. Huzzah! Okay, cool. Now we probably have netstat. Cool. Apt install apt file. Okay. What do we get from apt file? T TCP displays information about TCP sockets. -U UDP displays information. Oh, cool. -L listening shows only listening sockets. Apt file search bin/netstat. That's going to come in real handy when I'm studying for my Linux administrator course. Cool. Thank you. Thank you both, Ishizu and Plus. -P program shows the process ID, the PID, and program name associated with each socket. This requires sufficient permissions. Apt file lets you search for packages containing parts of file names or paths. It answers the which package brings me. Huh. Seriously. That's super cool. Thanks. Let's apt package searching utility. Okay. Awesome. What do we want to do next? I guess we can try updating to Debian testing. So we can go back to etc apt sources.list. And we've got everything with bookworm right now. I mean, I guess I don't have to do that. I can just do bookworm, and I can go Trixie. Yeah, I think that should be fine. What else do we need to do? We've already got non-free firmware. Is there anything else I would like? Trixie, that's one thing I am fairly decent at. I got my Vim substitutions going for me. I read Practical Vim, and it made me so much faster. Cool. Anything else I want to do while I'm here? Should be okay. Let's give it a shot. Sudo apt. I think I need to go upgrade. I don't need to sudo though. We can just upgrade. Apt update. I guess I have to update first, and then it reads the sources list and probably recognizes, hey, we're not on bookworm anymore. Yeah, one of the things I really look forward to is getting my hands on some more Linux systems again. I would love if my... Oops, we just did that. I would love if my day job included some systems administration. But mostly my day job is writing Python to automate provisioning of resources on AWS and stuff. So more on the cloud front. And then obviously Python things. But there's just a nice feeling about bopping around on Linux in a terminal. I want some more of that. But at least in my home lab, I'll be able to do it, you know? I guess that's a big reason people home lab. App-list changes. Cool. All right. In school, we learned Sun Solaris BSD. That's pretty cool. The closest thing I ever got to that was I played with FreeBSD. I ran FreeBSD as a desktop for a while. Yes. And that was interesting, right? Because you realize how Linux-centric things have become. One of the biggest shockers to me was just like missing flags in core utils. I think it was sed-p that I was using. Until, well, Oracle. Use SunOS and later Solaris until Oracle. Yeah. I think my dad used Sun and Solaris. We have conversations about that a bunch. He's more on the DOS side of things. But I've been slowly dragging him over to Unix over the years. Are you both professionals? DEC Fortran. I learned Fortran in in a class about old programming languages. I learned some Fortran, some COBOL, some other stuff. I didn't touch Linux in school. My first experiment was Slackware 4.0 at work. Slackware was my first Linux. Wow. I'll be honest. I expected that that most of my audience would be like students that I taught back in the day. And so I expected to I don't know, to be doing more of the teaching. But it's really cool that I'm getting like this opportunity to learn from all of you. This has been super fun. Started programming in Fortran in 77. Or in Fortran 77, but quickly switched to Pascal when it came up. I quit IT, caring for my grandparents at home now. Ah, that's a very kind of you to do, to take care of them. Yeah. Yeah, my grandfather's not doing too well these days, and we try to go out and visit as much as possible, but it's tough. It's a lot of respect for you taking care like that. Boy. Well, can't be too surprised that it takes a while to update from Bookworm to Trixie. What to do after this? I guess we can play a little bit around with how much ZFS. Maybe I can bop open ZFS here. Apt install some ZFS. Play around with that a little bit. Could be fun. You popped up on YouTube recommended. My stream? Really? Wow. Cool. Yeah. I've been very surprised at how supportive the YouTube algorithm has been. It's been pretty cool. Like my first 3 major YouTube videos, the ones that I actually kind of like put some effort into, got picked up by the algorithm, which is where most of my subscribers come from. But yeah. I also quit IT, but because I hated it. Fair. I switched to commercial industrial electrician doing automation and fire alarms. Cool. Do you still do any home labbing or anything like that? I figure you're here in my chat. You must have some interest continuing on. Oh. why I switched to my face. I'm getting tired. This is still bopping. Multiple Proxmox setups, many NAS reiterations. Fair. Very cool. Building. Pretty tech primitive these days, prefer philosophy, but that includes tech also. Nice. Well, that's kind of fun. Like, I kind of wanted, like, that's, I suppose, another goal of the channel. Are we done here? No. Another goal of the channel is creating a space for people to have fun with tech. I feel like there's a lot of tech content that's very like your job specific, right? It's like, how do I get a job? Jobs are scary. Here's how to boost your LinkedIn. Here's the 5 projects you should do. And I kind of just wanted a space where I could hang out and be like, it's really fun to break Debian today, right? And it's cool that like right away, people who are interested in a similar kind of vibe about tech are appearing. That's cool. Okay, so I guess we're at Trixie at this point. What would be useful to do? We don't have that much more time. AI, LLMs, etc. in that fun way too. I have, yeah. So being in academia, as I was, sorry, one sec. Being in academia for that time, like I was there right as GPT-3 dropped, right? Like that's when my PhD started. So everyone was like, "Oh my God, the LLMs! What are we gonna do with them?" Right? It was everything. Everybody was researching it, and so naturally, I just start playing with them, right? And so I've been thinking a lot about LLMs and AI, right? Generative AI, but more from a perspective of like, how do I learn effectively? How do I use them in a way that doesn't rob me of learning opportunities and rob me of fun, but and is actually useful to me. apt-get moo is a must on any new. Let's do it, and then I'll get back to my AI rant. We don't do. I think we're apt-get is not deprecated, but like less recommended than install these days. Maybe I do need to do apt-get install. Maybe just apt-get moo. Oh, you can just do. Can I do it like this? You can. Cool. Have you mooed today? Very good. Yes. On the topic of LLMs, though. Yeah, I've been really interested. So my coworker / my boss and I have been sort of going back and forth on what it feels like to use LLMs and things like that. apt-get is recommended for scripting and legacy, but will stay. Why recommended for scripting, if you don't mind me asking? And so we've been going back and forth on like, here's what it does well, here's what it does poorly, and also here's what it feels like to use it. And one of the interesting things I noticed is it feels like you're spending less effort to write the code, but you don't enter a flow state as you write the code, right? As you write the code, as the LLM writes code for you, right? And one of the best parts about being in software is the flow state that comes from this sort of like this process, right? And so I've been I've been playing around with like what proportion of code do I want written by an LLM? What proportion do I want done by me? How much agency should I let it have, and things like that. It's been really interesting. One thing that I really enjoyed it for, we can jump over to it, is doing my website. So I used Claude a lot, right? For front-end development, because I have no desire to ever be good at CSS. I just don't want it. I don't care. I don't care at all, right? I wanted to learn cloud infrastructure. So I built the website primarily to learn the AWS way of hosting a site, because also self-hosting my site was not working well because my power kept going out. And so, yeah, I found LLMs. If you know very well what you want to be good at and what you don't want to be good at, so you have like a concrete set of values around what you want your career to be, shaving off the things you don't have time for, shaving off the things that you don't want to be good at. It's nice to be able to delegate that to an LLM. And then you can spend more time on the things you actually care about, and don't let the LLM touch that, because it takes away the flow state. It's less fun. apt is user-friendly and subject to change in its outputs. apt-get is basically frozen and nicer to grep. That's so good to know. That's so useful. All right. Cool. Let's pop back over NAS. LLMs are good when you use them as tutorial facilitators, not just write the code for you, but engage with you in the application of the code. Yes. The more agency you reserve for yourself in your interactions with LLMs, the more you learn, which obviously is better for long-term sense of meaning and mastery that you develop, right? And then also just like, I think the interactions themselves feel better. That's why having some good knowledge is good, because you can pick up on errors in the guidance. Yes, completely agree. The LLMs are an interesting beast. Also, the pricing models are ridiculous, which is a whole other thing, right? Like, OpenAI and Anthropic are losing money on every token, right? So it's like, you definitely should not become reliant on LLMs, because I don't think they will be here in this capacity in this format for too much longer. They are burning through VC money, and running the models that are this effective at this size is not getting cheaper. So I'm very interested in that. That's why I think home labs are good for AI. We can build our own offline. Yes, that I think would be super cool. You just have to accept that they're not going to be like Claude Sonnet 4. They're not going to be GPT 4.1, right? At least, and I don't know if you can take 400 billion parameters and shove them down into 8 and still have that level of intelligence. I don't know. Okay, now let's search. Let's start playing with this. ZFS on Fuse. Can I scroll this way? Yeah. Golang Go ZFS, libguest, guest disk image management system, ZFS support. Do we want... Which one do we want? I've only installed this before with like ZFS boot menu. I've never actually just installed ZFS this way. So I don't know what to use. liblzf. No, that's probably not it. So it's not these. It's definitely not Go library for ZFS manipulation. It could be libguestfs ZFS. All right. Whoops. So let's take a look. Let's do some Googling. ZFS on Debian. Oh, I need contrib. Is this ZFSZ? How to install ZFS in... Okay. Install. Okay, this makes more sense. This is what I've done before. So I just need contrib. Are you using a cloud server with the cloud Linux kernel? No. Just test it by running ZFS version. Okay. So I just needed contrib. That makes sense. If we connect via a ghost net as nodes, we can build a big model. Tell me more about that. That sounds really interesting. vim/apt. No, /etsy/apt/sources.list. What's the easiest way to do this? They all end in non-free firmware. So I can actually do a %s non, I can do firmware. Whoops. Firmware. Whoops. Contrib. All right. Oh god, it feels good to be using Linux again. It really does. App search CFS. Do we get the stuff now? We get a bunch of stuff. So we need kernel modules, OpenZFS root file system capabilities for Linux. Interesting. Auto snapshot service. Cool. ZFS test. OpenZFS test infrastructure and scripts. OpenZFS root file system capabilities. I'm not doing root file systems on this little test, but I will later. So I think we just need ZFS utils Linux. What is ZFS Z? OpenZFS event daemon. I think it's pronounced daemon too. Okay. Interesting. Probably gonna want that. Dynamic kernel module stuff. Do I want that? All right, I'm going to type that out myself so that it sticks in my head a little bit more. At least dynamic kernel module stuff. What is the S for? Dynamic kernel module system? apt install ZFS DKMS. We want ZFS. Anybody know what Fuse is? I think I've read about it in AWS stuff, but I don't know. I think the event daemon makes sense. And we definitely want utils. I think that will be enough. Why is this guy suggesting the Linux headers? Because of the dynamic kernel module stuff, right? I think I need the Linux headers for dynamic kernel module stuff to work well. Fuse equals file system in userland. A nice wrapper. Huh. Hold on. I'm going to Google that. That sounds cool. In userland. Fuse is a software interface for Unix and Unix-like computer operating system that lets non-privileged users create their own file systems without editing kernel code. This is achieved by running file system code in user space, while the Fuse module provides only a bridge to the actual kernel interfaces. Huh. That's kind of cool. Yeah, DKMS needs a headers. That makes sense. And build utils if not present. Okay. Headers. It was Linux headers, and then it goes the architecture, AMD 64. Cool. And am I on? No, wait. The N100 is, yes, AMD 64. We're good. Heard of Yarvin's Urbit? I have not. Okay, so we've got this, and I need build utils. Is that Linux build utils like that? Okay, let's start with this, and then we'll do, oh, I remember this being a long install process. We're going to do a little, well, just thing. And we're going to apt search build utils. Okay. I'll pop that in. Tell me more about Yarvin's Urbit. Okay. Why is this popping up? Oh, I remember this. I spent so long on that ZFS boot menu stuff. Honestly, learned a lot about fiddling about with Debian, which was nice. think I will probably sign off after this installs and I take a look at, I find my disks, start playing around with ZFS a little bit. It's an OS. Urbit is a decentralized personal server platform based on functional programming in a peer-to-peer network. Huh. DKMS has the built. Oh, okay. Okay. It should have clocked for me that build utils meant, like the C compilation setup. Don't know if I agree with the creator's politics, though. Interesting idea. Yeah, that's one of the things, like, a lot of really interesting decentralized technology often comes from, like, because of the nature of, like, peer-to-peer networks being so capable of being independent, often people are interested in, like, people in those spaces can be interested in, like, I don't want to say anarchist, like libertarian kind of politics. And I'm not gonna like share politics too much on here, but it is like one of those things that kind of I've seen bundled up, Running the pre-build script. Wow. I gotta say this stream went a lot better than the last one, and the last one went better than I had expected. I really popped on my first stream and went, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I figured I would just start. Prefer to be apolitical. Yeah, I don't like. Streaming itself is already so full of political content and political rage baiting, that I don't want that to be what we discuss here, Like, it's just, I would like this to be good vibes about Linuxy things. That's what I'm going for, Yeah, I think I will sign on after this, or sign off after this. But for those of you who stuck around, thank you so much. This has been a blast. And I learned a ton. Is Linux political? Is the question. I feel like often people will say things like art is inextricable from its politics, or like this is everything is political, or things like that. And it's like, well, I think you can interpret anything through a political lens, and it's up to you to do that. You can choose to or not, but that doesn't mean it has to be interpreted through a political lens. Like, yeah, you could easily be like, yeah, Linux is political because it's part of this open source movement, which is like anti-capitalist or something, right? You could start stringing that together, but you don't have to, right? You can just look at it and be like, this is cool tech. And I think that's perfectly fine. Wow, it is running the pre-build script. Just keeps going. For those of you who stuck around also, I do plan on streaming some more. I'm thinking of making this a weekly thing, depending on how much energy I have. It takes a lot out of you to do this, but it is super fun, so I got to consider it. We shall see. I think maybe I'll do them on Thursdays. Okay. I just want to see ZFS work before I sign off, I just want to see it work. Okay. Hold on. I'll be right back. And then we'll, hopefully this will be done. I can do some ZFS stuff, and we can call that a prototype, even though all I really did was install Debian the easy way and then apt update. Yeah. I'll be right back. Oh my god, it's still going. It's still going. Okay, I'm going to sign off because this is going to go on forever. But this has been awesome. Thank you all so much for your time. I had a blast. I hope you did too. And I will be streaming again sometime next week. Not on Monday, though, because that's a holiday. And I could use a break. Yeah, man. All right. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.